18th, but what I had been doing was occasionally deactivating my page. I'm going to make some more videos though. Damn, it just sucks that TikTok might actually get banned, and I don't know. I can't think of any other platform that's similar. Thoughts on Dr. Sebi diet? I don't know what that diet entails. I got blocked on Instagram by family for voting for Trump. Oh, damn, really? I didn't, Lamar, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't vote. I didn't vote. I was telling that you just weren't on the lives. I don't know what happened, but I had changed my mind. I was telling people I'm not voting that. I'm not voting. I ain't messing with that bullshit. Soon as Obama came out and said that stupid shit about black men, uh, how we were not supporting Kamala and that, I'm like, nigga, I'm like, no. I was over at that point. I was like, nah, I'm good on this. I'm good. Even though I know I get it, whatever, but still, you don't throw black men under the bus. We are a super minority in this country. You need to go hold white people accountable. You need to go hold white people accountable. Stop trying to throw black men under the bus. He's done that multiple times too. I was like, nah, you a mulatto. Kamala ain't really black. Nah, I'm good on that. I'm good. Do you think we as black people can thrive in this economy? We're not thriving right now. But listen, it's not a matter about being black. I think the problem is we see ourselves as too much of a collective. You got to think about yourself. I think this is where black people mess up, to be honest with you. I think what we do is we have a tendency to see everything through the lens of the group, of the collective. You got to start thinking about yourself. What another black person does has no bearing on your life. If I decide to go out there and do something crazy, reckless, stupid, that is not indicative of all black people. And I think that we literally fall into this trap because we are somewhat of a collectivist culture, right? Not to mention, historically speaking, white people have they kind of have historically made us be this way by, you know, making it seem like all black people do this or all black people do that, whatever. Yeah, exactly. I think being a minority and white people and white supremacy with racism, historically speaking, they've used a handful of people to indict all of black people. You let a small minority of black people do something and suddenly it's indicative of everybody. And that's just not the case. We're not a monolith. We're not. And you don't want to be a monolith because every time a black person does something, why do you want to be associated with that? Fuck that. If you want to go out there and rob, kill, steal, gang bang, sell drugs, whatever, that's on you. Those are the life decisions you've made for yourself. It's no different than a white person doing it or Hispanic person doing it. But as far as the question is, can you thrive in this economy? Because there are black people thriving and there are a lot of white people who aren't thriving. You see what I'm saying? You got to start thinking about yourself. Put yourself first. Stop worrying about other folks and what they got going on. And I think we have this tendency to think that if another black person can't do it, then none of us can do it. And that's the problem. That's where a lot of this shit comes from. You need validation from other black people to feel like if another black person hasn't been able to attain a certain level of success, then nobody else can do it. And then likewise, what's up, Ash? Just because you see another black person doing it doesn't mean that you then have the permission to go out there and do it. Because sometimes it's not sometimes, it's all about you and your capabilities and what makes you you. That's just a way that keeps us separate. All cultures succeed and all cultures commit crimes. Yes, exactly. All cultures do commit crimes. Now, crime and violence is disproportionate in the black community. We can't deny that. I don't think we should. I don't think we should be in denial about that. There is a disproportionate amount of crime, violence, and other forms of social pathologies in the black community. But at the same time, that's a certain group of people. That's not me. That's not you. And I'm sorry, I don't, just because I'm black does not mean that I can identify with that culture. I'm not from the hood. I'm not from the ghetto. I don't understand. Well, I do understand to some degree, but I'll be feeling awkward. Sometimes I go into certain spaces and I'm like, oh, it's too black over here for me. Well, I shouldn't say it's too black. It's too hood. It's too niggerish. And I'm sorry, I just can't relate. I can't relate. It's just some things I'll just be like, yeah. Just like I can't relate to what it's like to be an upper middle class black person. I don't know how those Negroes get down. I don't know their norms, their societal, their expectations, how they were brought up, the things that they do, the rituals they join in. I'll take the microaggressions from the whites before I be in black spaces. But here's the thing. Black folks be giving out microaggressions too to each other. In fact, black folks you get bullied left and right being in certain black spaces. Shit. Fuck that. How about you be around the people that share your values and your way of life and your outlook on life? I think that's what I think that is what you need to focus on. You need to find your tribe, whatever that may be. It could be that you fucking, I don't know. You just got a group of, and I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people don't know this, but from an evolutionary perspective, you said, tell them, from an evolutionary perspective, we did not evolve to be around a whole bunch of people like this. This is something that a lot of people don't realize. Don't move to Charlotte. The black people here are so low. That's everywhere, baby. I thought you were from Opelika. That's the hood. My apologies if I'm wrong. No, I grew up in Miami-Dade County. I grew up on the Southwest. Southwest Dade County. Kendall, Richmond Heights area. I didn't grow up I had family that lived in Opelika, and we would go visit. I've spent a lot of time over there, but I was never deeply embedded within the hood. Opelika is the hood. But if you grow up in Kendall, that's not really Kendall, Cutler Bay, Pine Crest area. I grew up kind of like in the middle of all that. Palmetto Bay, Cutler Bay, and Kendall. It's solidly middle class. I don't know nothing about no hood, dope boys. I've never known anybody who sold drugs or been around that. No gangs, none of that. That just the area of Miami that I grew up in, that just did not exist. Now I'm pretty sure that I did used to smoke that smoke, but that don't mean I knew dope. Well, okay, of course but what I'm talking about is people like actual like dope boys like selling more than that devil's lettuce. I'm talking about like gangs, drugs, like some shit that I see here in Chicago, or when I used to, well, not Atlanta, but Chicago, LA, No, that shit. I didn't grow up. Did not grow up around any of that, and none of the black people who I knew did either. We were all middle class family, like two two parent households. Parents got jobs. I'm out here in Arizona right now, and that's where the real cartel is at. Oh, you don't live in Indiana no more? You moved? I don't know none of that. I don't mess with none of that. I'll be weirded out. If I ever, I've mm-mm. Oh, you out there for business right now? I'm gonna tell you guys this though. I don't think TikTok is going to get banned. I don't think it's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. And let me tell you the reason why. I've been doing a little bit more research into this. And I'm going to make a video about this on my other page, but oh wow, I just got restricted. Okay, TikTok is, oh my god, this is one thing I hate about this app. Um I hate it when they do that. You said, I feel like the people who have money investing in TikTok keep saying that they don't think it's going to be banned, which I understand. No, I do see that though. There's a lot of delusional people on TikTok. There, trust me, there's a lot. Like, I'm not one of those individuals. Like, it is what it is. They don't think that TikTok is going to get banned. And then when you listen to their reasons for why, they like start talking about astrology and horoscopes, or they talk about the Supreme Court being pro-Trump or conservative, and I'm like, okay, clearly you have no idea what you're talking about, right? But no, and I'm not even going off of Trump himself saying that he was going to save TikTok. Yeah, and they start talking about VPNs and all this other stuff. I'll tell you the reason why I personally believe that TikTok is not going to get banned. We are about to go into a tariff war, a trade war with China and other countries. Okay. China has to avoid this, whether they want to acknowledge, whether it gets acknowledged or not. The Chinese economy depends way too heavily on the United States. Okay. And they can impose their own tariffs too, but more than likely, in the grand scheme of things, they are probably more than likely going to make an exception and pretty much force ByteDance to sell off TikTok as a bargaining tool, as a form of negotiation in order to get what they want out of the United States. So that's what I think is happening. I think that what we're going to see is inevitably China is going to cave, and they are going to force ByteDance to sell themselves off to, now check this out now. It's not like ByteDance in of itself is going to suddenly become non-Chinese owned. What more than likely is going to happen is there's going to be a venture capital firm or some sort of private equity group, more than likely not a venture capital firm, a private equity group, like a management group made up of private investors, and they are going to buy the majority shares in TikTok. And then the Chinese will still have, like, Chinese investors will still have some sort of stake in the company. It's just that legally speaking, everything will then be shifted over to the United States. Now, what could also happen is, and don't be surprised if this is what's going to go down, and this could come as a major surprise. One of the reasons why Zuckerberg has been, oh, exactly, Jewel. One of the reasons why Mark Zuckerberg went and talked to Donald Trump is that Zuck probably went to go suck up to Donald Trump and say, hey, I got a plan. We could use TikTok. We could buy them out, right? We could buy them out. And then at that point, yeah, I think that that could very well be happening. I think that Trump sees, okay, you know what? Zuck is promising in order to make certain accommodations to the platform not to censor, not to engage in heavy censorship of conservative content and political content. In exchange, Zuckerberg goes and decides, you know what? When China puts up TikTok on the auction block, we'll go in and make the biggest bid and buy them outright completely and merge it into the Meta platform. I can see that happening. That or Elon Musk. I doubt it'll be Elon Musk though, because Elon Musk, his big thing is Tesla, right? Like that is essentially the bread and butter of what of Elon Musk's business portfolio. More than likely is going to be Facebook. See, Google is already too big. Google is not in that or let me tell you, if it's not Zuckerberg, Amazon. But see, Amazon might be faced with limitations too because the Department of Justice might shut it down. But let me tell you what more than likely is going to happen in the next coming days or weeks. The Supreme Court is going to decide to take on the case and then impose a temporary stay on the bill. And what they could do is push the case out way deep into next year. We're talking like the summer, fall of next year when they will actually take on the case. And that will give the Trump administration and all these private equity groups, that'll give essentially the Trump administration probably a good 8-9 months to figure out a way how to save TikTok. Because let me tell you the reason why Donald Trump he has to face it. He has to figure out a way how to save TikTok. Let me tell you the reason why. Donors. They spent way too much money. Why won't the Supreme Court let Elon receive his profits from Tesla? That wasn't the Supreme Court. That was the state of Delaware. That was the state of Delaware that had ruled that. That was a Supreme Court justice in Delaware at the state level, though. I'm talking about the U.S. Supreme Court. Clarence Thompson, them, Brett Kavanaugh, and what's his name, John Roberts, and Gorsuch, Eleanor Kagan, Amy, what was her name? Amy Coney Barrett. I'm talking about them white folks. The Ketanji Jackson. Now, they're forced to take on this case, and let me tell you the reason why. TikTok has too much of a big footprint in the United States, economically and politically. It's just way too big. Like you're going to be literally crashing the economy to some degree by just suddenly saying, okay, January 19th, nope, gotta end. That is going to create an immense amount of economic panic. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. You're going to suddenly have revenue channels of multiple small businesses just go up overnight. And the political backlash from that is going to trickle down to Republicans and not really harm Democrats. Because one thing people are not considering is that all these TikTok shops, all these influencers, all these individuals who are making money off of TikTok, all these businesses, agencies, whatever, that are spending a ton of money on TikTok, TikTok Shop, brand deals, whatever. The Republicans in Congress already have a small lead. We're talking about they're only up by 2 seats. And I could tell you already, some of them are probably already regretting voting on that bill. They are probably really regretting voting on that bill because the Republicans hold such a small, slim majority in Congress. And my other suspicion is they voted on that bill. This could also be political theater. They voted on that bill knowing that the federal appeals court was going to more than likely rule in their favor, but then that ultimately the Supreme Court was going to strike it down and rule in TikTok's favor. But we'll see, though. There's so much speculation going around, but to be honest with you, more than likely what's going to end up happening is the Supreme Court, because TikTok is just way too big to fail, right? It's just too large of a behemoth at this point. Half of the country is using TikTok. I mean, that's 200 million Americans. That's not, you can't just hit the delete button on that one. They're going to have to at least give. Now, here's the thing. They are going, what I'm saying is they're going to take on the case just to essentially put a temporary pause on it to give the Trump administration enough time to figure out what their plan is going to be before they finally decide to rule on it. Because they could take on the case already knowing they're going to side with the lower courts. That is a very real possibility too. And that's probably what's more than likely going to happen. But before they rule on it, they're going to decide that TikTok is in compliance with whatever new law, whatever comes down. Either way, I know it's a lot of speculation being thrown out there, and I could be completely wrong. The Supreme Court, because I think Monday is when I think TikTok has already filed their emergency filing. I think they filed an emergency filing with the Supreme Court, and they could rule as early as next week whether or not they're going to take on the case. And I suspect they're going to take it on. I think they're going to take it on and temporarily pause that ban until the summer. The fall. They're going to really push that shit out as much as they can to see. Because here's another thing too. Here's another thing. What's about to happen? A lot of people don't even realize this. A lot of these Supreme Court justices want to retire. Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas. There's been rumors circulating that those two men want to retire, right? My suspicion is there's already been pressure put on them that if Donald Trump won, that Sotomayor, well, she's going to try to stay on as long as she can. She can't leave now. She has too much pressure on her to stay on because it's a 6-3 majority, and she's one out of three liberals on the bench. So she has to stay on as long as she can until hopefully another Democratic president comes along. But if she dies or if she's forced to resign because of sickness, it's a wrap for the United States when it comes to having any type of political power in the country, for liberals to have any type of political power in this country. Because let me tell you, Donald Trump is about to be given at least 3 justices to choose from in his upcoming term. Because I could guarantee you by the end of next year, or the beginning, well, not the end of next year, by the end of 2026, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, at least 2 of them, one of them is going to resign. They're going to resign. And it'll probably be Clarence Thomas first. He actually is the longest. I think he right now is the longest serving Supreme Court justice. Because he got I think he was added to the bench in what was that, 1990? Because he was appointed by George Bush. Yeah. Anyways, guys, let me reset the live because I got these restrictions and